Finally, it seems like this company's taken forever to go public, but finally Roblox is officially going public today, and this is pretty big news. So for those of you who don't know, Roblox is an online gaming platform. Essentially the way it works, it's an online gaming platform where you can play games that are either designed by other users or create and share your own games using Roblox's like proprietary software. And it's actually really cool. I checked it out the other day. The website is really, really interesting. It's available on Apple, Android, Amazon App Store, Xbox One, and Microsoft. Basically on anything that you can get Wi-Fi and internet access to, you can play any of the games on Roblox. So currently they have about 32.6 million people who use this every single day in over 180 countries. That is one of the largest daily active user bases that I've seen for any company in a while. But essentially, if this game has started off with the younger demographic, so anyone who is in their teens or younger probably plays on this game. According to the CEO of Digital World Research, they say that Roblox is essentially like a substitute for a babysitter. They said when parents need a break and they're at home, Roblox is just like a substitute for a babysitter. It's like Minecraft meets Nintendo meets Lego and mobile and just all the games combined. Basically, it's just all of those mashed up into one. Top researcher at Digital World Research says that the company started with a really young demographic, and that's what most companies, most tech companies, that's what ends up happening, like Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, all of them always start off with that younger demographic, and over time it starts to get older and older, but still Roblox is in that very early stage still, mostly younger demographic, and this IPO, essentially, the money that they're gonna raise from it gives them the opportunity to build more content for the platform, or to go to like adjacent platforms like music or partnering with Spotify or movie services. And the CEO of Roblox says that's essentially where they're going. The CEO, David Baszucki, and he founded this in 2004, and he estimates that 3/4 of American children age 9 through 12 hang out on Roblox every month. That's insane. That's probably one of the most played platforms out there right now. Like, he said 75% of all children between 9 and 12. And really, they said because of the pandemic, they were crushing it. That's when they really took off. Now they have 33 million people who use it daily. And he said moving into the future, the company, they have pretty big goals. Like, I was looking into this, they have some really, really exciting stuff that they're trying to do. And it's from making movies with Roblox content, creating a universal translator for people around the globe to gather in a collective virtual space. He said ultimately the dream is down the road to essentially have, make movies from the content, have that universal translator, and they really have a big vision for the company. It seems like what they're trying to do, not exactly the same, but they're trying to be a very, very well-known brand. And I don't know exactly how that will work, just because there's so many different games on the platform. So it's not like, let's say, it's very different from, I don't know, you can't really compare to Disney, but let's just say Disney. Disney has main characters, and they make movies out of them. Then they can make games from those characters. They make merchandise. Roblox is trying to do something similar, where they have these games, the couple games that people really, really like, the most popular ones. Then with those games, they want to make all this other content with, and that could be pretty exciting. Going into some of the numbers though with the company, it also looks really good there. So right now, Roblox, the amount they paid out to developers, they paid out $328.7 million last year. That's up almost 200% from the year before, which is huge. That's really big. And one thing to keep in mind, though, the amount they paid to developers increased at a much higher percentage than how much money they actually made, their sales growth. Their sales growth broke $923 million. So essentially what's happening is they're paying out more money to the developers, people who use the platform to make games, but they're not increasing the revenue as much. And the reasoning for this is they said that it's important that they pay out their developers a lot of money. The only way their platform grows and gets better is if people actually make games, want to spend time to make games on their platform. And the only way that these games are going to get better is if they're monetizing it and if the people then work more time on the games. So they said that's why they're focused so much on the creator side, paying out a lot of money to creators, because they know their platform, the foundation of it is the creators. So if they're incentivizing people to make better games, to continue to work on the games, well then that is what's going to lead to long-term growth for this company. Currently they have more than 1,250 developers who earn $10,000 in the digital currency Robux, and they have over 300 creators who earned over $100,000. So that's really the main part of their company. They want to make sure games get better, and that's why they're incentivizing people. They have such a great monetizing platform for these creators to make money. Example of this, there's one guy, I was reading up on it, one guy, him and his girlfriend make $49,000 per month from their action game called Bad Business. They sell outfits and weapons players can use to make their characters look cooler, perform better, and they've been spending a lot of time working on this game. But it's very exciting because this platform, it's not just like, oh, you have one game, it's going to go out of style. No. Constantly new games are being created for this platform from different creators, and it's like it's never going to go stagnant. Like if people get bored of a game, there's going to be new games coming up on the platform, and that's why they're spending so much money on creators, and that's why such a large portion of the money they make goes to creators, because they know without the creators they don't have a platform, and they are the ones who build the platform with all of these new exciting games. The company's going public with a $30 billion market cap, which is huge. It's huge, but it's really exciting. This company has so much potential because there's no limit to the number of games. There's no limit to the innovation that could take place on the platform in terms of their games. Their proprietary technology makes it easy for anyone to make games. You don't have to be an expert coder, and it is really, really exciting. Can't wait to see what happens here. If they're able to fulfill all the things that they have planned with movies and that universal translator and all the merchandise. It'll be really interesting to see what happens. And I don't know if I'm going to be investing in it right away, because it's probably going to have, be really rocky to start. It's going to go up and down. It's going to be a roller coaster ride the first couple days of its IPO. But it is one of the most talked about companies that is IPOing in 2021. So that is really, really exciting. Speaking of subscribers, though, Disney Plus just announced that they officially surpassed 100 million subscribers. And this is a huge milestone. They did this in less than a year and a half, and no one thought they were going to be able to do it. Netflix didn't think so. Hulu didn't think so. Disney Plus didn't think so. Disney Plus was projecting when they first launched their service, they would have 60 to 90 million people using, subscribers by 2024. They've destroyed that number. They've done 100 million subscribers in the first 16 months of this thing. And this is really, really, really exciting. If you're comparing it to other companies out there, they're by far the second largest streaming platform. Netflix, they have surpassed 200 million, but Netflix is the OG streaming service company. They've been around for a while, and they just surpassed 200 million. Disney surpassed 100 million in 16 months. That is absolutely unheard of. We don't know exactly what pushed it over the edge. They've been growing at a very fast rate. Probably some movies that they recently, some shows, some movies, some content that they recently released, such as WandaVision and Raya and The Last Dragon, probably helped. The next big series that they are going to be releasing is the Falcon and Winter Soldier. Those are some pretty big names that are coming out. But really, Disney Plus, they have so many names, so many movies on their platform that people watched growing up, that kids enjoy, and they're always coming out with new content. So that is something that people really like, and that's why it's gained so much popularity. They set a target to have more than 100 new titles per year, and this includes Disney Animation, Disney Live Action, Marvel, Star Wars, and National Geographic. So they said that's the goal for this year. They said the response from people all over the world for Disney Plus has been so much better than they were expecting, and it's inspired them to be more ambitious, spend tens of billions of dollars on new content. And they said their targets now, because obviously before their targets were 60 to 90 million by 2024, the targets now, they said, by 2024 have been upped dramatically to 300 to 350 million subscribers by 2024. And that would put them at, 50% larger than Netflix. Obviously, Netflix is going to be growing in that time too. But it's going to be really interesting to see when Disney starts to sneak up on that 200 million, starts to sneak up on the total number of subscribers for Netflix, because they're catching up. They're moving really quickly. And Disney, unlike Netflix, Disney has so much more to the business than just streaming. They have the theme parks, all of the movies that they always release in movie theaters, all of these characters that have been around for decades. Disney has a lot going for it. The stock price has been doing extremely well. But when you see Disney Plus start to have the same number of subscribers as Netflix, that's when you're going to see Disney be a massive, massive stock, because it's valued pretty similar to Netflix, but it has so much more than what Netflix has. Netflix is great, but it's really just a streaming service. Disney, on the other hand, is much more than a streaming service, but now this is becoming like such a huge portion of their business, and it's going to be something you want to keep an eye out for, because it's really exciting. It is really, really exciting. Spotify. Next up is Spotify. Spotify recently announced that they are launching a high-end audio experience service called Spotify Hi-Fi. And this is really just in response to what has been going on with Tidal. Tidal is another streaming service that focuses solely on high-quality audio, and people want to make sure that Spotify can compete. They want to make sure Spotify has all the different offerings that Tidal has and more. So Spotify announced that they will be releasing Spotify Hi-Fi later this year. We don't know all the specific details on it. We know it's going to cost more than Spotify Premium. It's only going to be in select markets, and it's going to be high quality audio, CD quality with lossless audio format. And they said this is a result of users consistently asking about it. They said people have been asking about this high quality content, high quality audio for a while now. It's one of the most highly requested things on the platform. So they finally just said, you know what, let's do it. They worked on it behind the scenes, and now they will be offering it. We don't know all the specific details. Like I said, we don't know what the pricing is going to be on it. It's going to be more than Spotify Premium, and we don't know all of the specific details, but we do know that it will be coming out in 2021. In addition to that, the company also made some updates. I was on the app the other day, and I don't know if this is new, but when you go to your liked songs, now it can be filtered by genre. So now when I look at my liked songs, it came up with all of these new genre tabs at the top, and I can just click on different genres, and it automatically sorts all of the liked songs. That was a pretty cool feature I found. I saw it the other day, and it was really, I use it all the time now. I thought it was pretty cool. And other things that they're doing is they're focusing on the podcast portion of their business. Spotify, they made some other big deals, multi-year contracts with some big podcasting names. They also are adding new features, and yeah, they're trying to get, push out more, get more attention to their podcast business. That has been a major area of growth, and they're going to continue to look into that. But this new Spotify Hi-Fi is something that will help set them further apart from some of their competition. and get them into that high quality space. Customers have been asked for it. They're delivering. It'll be interesting to see how many people opt in to paying for that subscription versus just the standard or like the premium versions. Next up is with Dr. B. And this is a startup that promises a better way to distribute leftover vaccines. It's already being used, this service, in areas all around the U.S., already distributing shots of the vaccine in New York and Arkansas, and more than 500,000 people have signed up for this newly launched service called Dr. B in an attempt to get vaccinated. So essentially, what goes on right now is that the vaccine is probably the scarcest resource in the entire world. Everyone's trying to get it. No one can get it. You have to, be a certain age. Only if you live certain places, you have to sign up to get it. It's really not so easy to get right now. And the Dr. B website aims to function as a kind of emergency alert system for thought out virus vaccines. Because the way it works is typically once the vaccine is thawed out, it only has 6 hours before it goes bad. Like, it needs to be injected. Someone needs to get that vaccine within 6 hours of it thawing out. Otherwise, it goes bad. And a lot of the time, researchers analyze that as much as 20 to 30% of vaccine appointments are missed. And that leaves thousands of vaccines thawed out. And if they're not used within 6 hours, they're permanently lost. So 20 to 30% of people are missing their appointments. That means 20 to 30% of the vaccines potentially could be lost if people don't step in and claim them. So what this service is doing is when there are cancellations, when people don't show up, well, then it notifies people who have signed up for the service. It texts them saying there's a vaccine available. You can go get it right now. And if they respond within a certain time, well, then they can go and get the vaccine. They'll be next up to get it. If they're not, they just go to the back of the list. But essentially, this app is solving the problem of unused vaccines. And the service, the way it works is if you want to get a vaccine, you sign up on this thing on the site. And if there are some cancellations in your area, well, then they will notify you. They get, your zip code where you live, and that is how they can notify you. But this is really exciting because it's going to save so many, millions of vaccines, and more than 500,000 people have already signed up for it. And it's a great way to just reduce waste. Like, people need to get the vaccine. People want to get the vaccine. And if you want to get the vaccine, it's really annoying when you're hearing 20 to 30% of the people miss their appointments. So you sign up for this, then you could easily get access to a vaccine if there are a cancellation or if people just don't show up. I don't know why people wouldn't show up when they make an appointment in the first place. I mean, yeah, I know things come up, but 20 to 30% seems like a lot. Seems like a lot to me, but who knows? We will see what happens, but this is pretty exciting. Another company is with a startup that Chamath just recently invested in. He's been in the news a lot recently between him selling all of his shares of Virgin Galactic. He sold $213 million of it. People were not happy about that. And just a couple days after that, he came out with an announcement on Twitter saying he's excited to be back. And he made a major investment into a company called Pipe. It's a Miami-based startup. He wrote a one-pager on Twitter about it, and he explained how they have over 3,000 customers. The liquidity on the platform is $1 billion plus. They're growing at a very, very fast rate. Unfortunately, this isn't a publicly traded company, so we can't invest in it. But what many people are saying is that this is like the NASDAQ for revenue. It is a two-sided marketplace, a two-sided platform, that connects companies that have predictable monthly or quarterly revenue, recurring revenue, and institutional investors who compete to purchase these revenues. So essentially, it could work with any company that has a pretty predictable business in terms of revenue numbers. And right now, they have over 3,000 customers. Pipe, what they do is they directly integrate with a company's banking, payment processing, and accounting system to rate their business instantly. and they provide companies access to capital within 24 hours of sign up and becoming a cash flow operating platform for growth. Long term, they have a lot of opportunities to expand beyond recurring revenue to reoccurring revenue and other asset classes. In this investment round, Shopify put money into it. Chamath put money into it. Mark Benioff, Michael Dell, a lot of big names are backing this company. It was a $50 million round. They said they didn't need the money, but they wanted to make these strategic partnerships, and they are extremely useful going forward. They said they already had 5 or 6 years of runway in terms of cash, so they didn't need this money, but it is always helpful, having that $50 million. You can't turn it down saying we don't need this, especially when they're a startup. It's always good to have those partnerships, to have extra money. Even though they had a lot, having the partnerships is key. Michael Dell, Chamath, big news. Here's a story for you with Audi. Audi, the Q4 e-tron electric SUV, they just released some pretty cool features, and this is a car that I definitely want. Like, I might get one of these when you're looking at what they just announced. So the Audi Q4 e-tron is in a compact SUV. It was first debuted at the 2019 Geneva Motor Show, and a lot has happened since then. They came out, they showed us some pretty big features and information about the upcoming Q4 e-tron, including a camouflaged production exterior. They said that the exterior, those were just some of the small updates that they showed, but what's really cool about the Q4 e-tron, not only does it have wireless charging, not only does it have USB-C ports, but this heads-up display is insane. When you're looking at the augmented reality integrated into the dashboard, into this display, it looks really futuristic. It looks like straight out of a movie, but it's real. It shows you, this display shows you how fast you're going, how far away the car is, and a lot of other features in terms of the speed limit, if you're in between your lanes. And this is going to continue to get better and better, and it looks straight out of a movie. Shows you what the car in front of you is doing, if it's signaling. It is really exciting that this kind of product is finally available, finally going to be on the market. And I would buy this car just because of this heads-up display. It looks really exciting. They said it was some 600,000 lines of code that took to pull this off. Looks worth it. I'm not a coder or anything, but it is really cool in terms of the tech they're putting in behind this, with the AR systems, with the with the AR system, with the AR technology, with that heads-up display, with the LCD screen that projects onto 2 different mirrors. It is really exciting. And the car looks really cool. It looks like straight out of a movie, in my opinion. Next up is Jack Dorsey's first tweet. Is on track to sell for $2.5 million, and he says that all the money will go to charity. That's good news. I thought he said that he was selling his first tweet ever as an NFT. I'm thinking, why does this guy need this money? He doesn't need the money at all. He's worth $13 billion. A couple million is like pennies to him. It's nothing. So last I looked, it said it was for $2.5 million. Let's take a look. Quick update. Right now, the tweet says it is going for still $2.5 million is the highest bid. And this is really insane that an NFT is going for that much. So essentially what it is his first tweet ever. He's selling as an NFT. People are buying the rights to that first tweet, which the first tweet is from 2006. He said, just setting up my Twitter. That's what they're buying. It's for $2.5 million. He said that he will be immediately converting the proceeds from this NFT to Bitcoin and donating that to give Directly's Africa Response Fund. And he's going to donate that to Give Directly's Africa Response Fund. So he will be donating it. That is something that makes sense. It seems like the right thing to do because this couple $1 million means nothing to him. He sort of just did it for fun, it seems like, to say that, oh, look, maybe I have the most expensive NFTs sold, or he's just doing it because he can. And it is nice to see that he will be donating this money to a good cause. Next up is Cathie Wood. Some investment stuff. Cathie Wood has been on everyone's mind lately. ARK Invest has had a pretty rough couple of weeks with the sell-off in tech, but this is the time where she's been doubling down. She came out and said she is not worried at all about the recent drop in her funds, and she said the bull market is simply just starting to broaden to include more strategies like value. She said that they use this as an opportunity to buy a lot more stocks. And right now, she said the market is broadening out. And we think in an underlying sense, the bull market is strengthening. And that will continue to, and that will play to our benefit over the longer term. She goes on to explain that we are getting great opportunities in the sell-off to buy pure play names. And when we get opportunities like this to invest in pure plays instead of more mature plays, we will move back into pure plays. She said we are adding more and we are becoming more and more optimistic about our portfolios in this sell-off. She doesn't think the stock's going to double over 5 years now. She thinks they're going to triple. And they've been adding a lot to their portfolio recently. Just the other day, they had their biggest single day of gains ever, more than 10%. That was the largest single day the fund has ever had. And mainly driven by companies like Tesla, which was up 20%, Zoom, which was up 10%, Palantir, which was up 8%. All those stocks, they've taken massive hits, but those are what drove ARK Invest to have a day that was over 10% in gains. And this is really big news. Like, ARK Invest has been buying a lot of DraftKings, a lot of Beam Therapeutics, Fate Therapeutics, PayPal. In total, they've been purchasing hundreds of millions of dollars worth of stock over the last couple of days, last couple of weeks as the market's been down, and they're not worried about it. They think it's just great opportunities. And if you are looking at investing something long-term, like I do own a lot of ARK Invest simply because I don't have to worry about it. I could just put money in there, forget about it for years, know it's being managed by Cathie Wood. ARK Invest is being professionally managed. And it's just nice when you can put money into an investment, not worry about it, and see the kind of growth that they've been seeing over the last couple of years. If it does what it did the last 5 years, the next 5 years, well, the last 5 years, it was up 550% ARKK. So if we see that again the next 5 years, yeah, like that is something. Who would pass up on 5-6xing their money in 5 years and just not worrying about it? Just put your money in, forget about it. So Cathie Wood, ARK Invest, has been doing better. She's not worried about it at all. Some major firms were starting to get worried, saying Cathie Wood, she's lost it. The fund is, not going to go anywhere, but they're bouncing back, just like all the other tech stocks that have been seeing a pretty big hit. One of Cathie Wood's favorite stocks, though, is Tesla. And Tesla, a new report the other day is that they're making a giant battery to plug into the Texas power grid and could store energy for 20,000 homes. This came after all of the drama in Texas this past winter, where there was that huge freeze and so many houses were out of electricity, couldn't get running water, and it was bad. So Gambit Energy Storage, a subsidiary of Tesla, is developing a battery storage project in Brazoria County, Texas. And the system is registered with the Electric Reliability Council of Texas, which is the state's power grid operator. And the filing from August gave the project an expected commercial opening date of June 1st, 2021, and it has capacity to store 100 megawatts of energy, which would power 20,000 homes on a hot day. That's really big news. The battery is set to charge from the electric grid when energy prices are low, and then discharge when the electric system has a shortage of energy. and the battery could help local electric systems come back online by providing energy to jumpstart electric generators during a blackout or natural disaster. So this is pretty big news. 20,000 homes. He's just building a huge battery, and the facility is going to be unmanned. It's going to be monitored remotely. There's going to be no emissions of any kind from the facility, and they say it's going to be located 150 feet away from any household. So really, it seems like nothing is wrong with this. It's just helping the power grid, and the energy storage park would strengthen the city's independence and resiliency for decades in the future. This is really big news. Really, really big news, especially with everything that had been going on with Texas recently, with the cold front that froze everything. This would have been able to solve a lot of issues, because during that time, prices of electricity surged 10,000%. And one Army veteran said he was billed $16,000 for power. So this would prevent that from happening. You never know what could happen. And this is a great system to have in place that can store energy, distribute it when people are in need. When things happen with the traditional energy and power grid, this can step in, kick in, solve a lot of those issues. Here's another story with a meteorite. So an astonishingly rare fireball meteorite was found in a UK driveway, and it was in pristine condition. It left a lot of scientists speechless. They were so excited. And for the first time in 30 years, according to the Natural History Museum in London, they said for the first time in 30 years, a meteorite has been recovered in the UK after landing in the driveway of a house. And the museum, they called this carbonaceous chondrite meteorite astonishingly rare, and they said it gives scientists a look into the past, like a look into early solar system dating back to 4.6 billion years ago. Just, this is something that they don't get very often, the opportunity to study. And not only that, but this rock, they had a lot of material that they were able, and a lot of the space rock that was able to be recovered and actually that they can use to study. This rare meteorite, they said it was nearly 10.6 ounces, close to a pound, and that has been recovered, and that is just more material than they normally would have to be able to study. Scientists were extremely excited about this. They say it's history in the making. The recovery of a meteorite fragment with data from meteor camera networks is a first for the UK. This was captured on camera a couple of weeks back. Everyone saw the giant fireball in the sky. There were so many reports of it, and it is very exciting that they do have the actual material. A lot of times this burns up in the atmosphere. They don't get it. This is a really big piece that they can study now, and it just landed in a random person's driveway in the UK. So that is really, really big news. It gives them a lot of material to study, science, and it's traced back prior to the asteroid belt between Jupiter and Mars, and we'll see what comes of this. But this is a very, very rare occurrence. It doesn't happen at all, really. So, switching gears a bit to some tech news. Foldable phones are finally here. Foldable phones are here. But what's even more exciting is now there's a phone that expands on demand. And previously, everyone's been excited about folding phones. Everyone's, at one point was excited about phones without buttons. Now the next big thing is with a phone that can expand on demand. So a video came out the other day from, I believe, BBC, where they show all the features of this new phone. It's just a prototype. It's not on the market yet, but essentially the way it works is you just click on the power button, you swipe up on the power button, and it goes from a normal size phone to more of like a tablet, and automatically does that. If you try and force it closed, it doesn't, it doesn't like resist. It automatically closes it back down for you, so it won't break. This is just a prototype. It's not being sold, so it's not available yet. But it is interesting to see that companies are already working on this sort of technology. This is the first time I've seen anything like this. And the cool thing about it is, like, if you're watching, let's say, a video or playing a game, and you want to have a bigger screen, you just swipe up on that power button, it expands, and then you could play on a bigger screen with whatever you're watching or playing, and it is really exciting. And that's nice because they also go on to explain in this review how a lot of times you have a little crease in the screen, and when the phone displays off, you can see the crease a bit. It doesn't feel like a soft plastic or a soft sort of screen. They say it still feels like a very hard, sturdy phone. When this display is on, you can't even see any bend in the screen. They say it's really, really pretty good. It's not, remember, this is just like a prototype. Companies that have been working on it, such as LG, TCL, they are working on this rollout technology. And we'll see what comes out of it, what companies are going to be releasing this first. This was from the biggest smartphone maker in China called Oppo. And we will see what happens here. But this is something I think a lot of people would actually like. Folding phones, me personally, I'm not a big fan of them. But expandable phones, that's something different. That's something pretty cool. I think that could be pretty useful. It goes from having like a phone to an iPad mini. That's what it goes from, a phone to a tablet. Chipotle just cracked the code on its menu. They added quesadillas. This is pretty exciting. Quesadillas were one of the most highly requested items from Chipotle. It's not on their menu, but it is the most highly requested item since they really first started. And finally, they listened. They said, okay, now we're going to be offering the quesadilla, but it's with a catch. The quesadilla is only available on the for online orders. And this isn't the first time that Chipotle has used like an exciting menu item to try and get people to go to its mobile app or to its website. When they brought back carne asada, that was only available using the online app. But there's other benefits to just driving traffic to the app by making the quesadilla. One of the benefits is that quesadillas, they take longer to make than like just a bowl or a salad. They take a little longer to make. And one of the reasons why they might only be offering it online is because it gives them extra time to make it. So while this is, I think it's really a win-win. They can drive more people to the app, which is what they want, and people get the quesadilla on the menu, which is what they want, and it'll reduce the wait time because if people order the quesadilla beforehand, it'll already be ready for them. This does take longer, so that is a pretty exciting thing. It's going to be available very shortly and only online. So this is something that is very, very exciting. In its fourth quarter last year, digital sales accounted for nearly half of Chipotle's revenue. I go to Chipotle all the time, and I do order on the app quite a bit. It's so much easier than going in line. But now having the quesadillas available, it's going to drive a lot of people to their app, and it is just a product that a lot of people like. So that is pretty exciting. Going to drive a lot of new users to its app. Next up is Xpeng. Xpeng just predicted that it will deliver fewer electric cars than NIO in the first quarter of 2021, significantly less than NIO. Xpeng, they just announced that they're projecting they will deliver about 12,500 vehicles in the first quarter of this year, which implies about 4,262 cars delivered in March of 2021. January, they delivered 6,015 cars. February, they delivered 2,223. So that was a massive drop from 6,000 to 2,000. That is not good. That is not good when you're seeing a company like Xpeng that has really high valuation and all these electric car companies, you want to see consistent growth for their deliveries. So that was a pretty big drop off, but they are projecting about 4,200 cars delivered for March of 2021, bringing their total deliveries for Q1 to 12,500. This is significantly less than NIO, and the exact opposite of what happened with NIO. NIO, they originally had said they were going to deliver about 20,000 vehicles in the first quarter of this year, but now that has been all the way, they upped that estimate, upped the guidance to 25,000. So they went from 20,000 to 25,000. They're projecting about 7,000 deliveries in the month of March 2021. And NIO is really starting to separate themselves from their competitors like Li Auto and Xpeng. They've always delivered more, but now they're starting to pull away even more. So Xpeng has that 12,500 vehicle mark for Q1 of 2021. Li Auto says they're going to deliver about 10,000 to 11,500 vehicles for the first quarter of 21. So NIO is projecting twice the amount of deliveries as their two big competitors, the two Chinese big competitors, which are Xpeng and Li Auto. Obviously, Tesla delivers a lot more, but what NIO is doing compared to their Chinese counterparts, the Chinese competitors with Li Auto and Xpeng, they are delivering double what they are. So that's pretty big news. What sets Xpeng apart from, let's say, a NIO, even though they are delivering less, they did announce this. Xpeng already is in Europe, already in Norway. NIO is moving there this year by the end of 2021. But Xpeng, a couple of things they also focus on is their autonomous driving software. That is one of the big areas of focus. They have some big backers from Alibaba, other big Chinese companies. And Xpeng still is growing at a rapid rate, don't get me wrong, but it seems like NIO is starting to really set themselves apart from the other Chinese electric vehicle makers, delivering nearly double what they will be delivering. Speaking of Chinese tech stocks, Alibaba is a stock that I've talked about on the main channel quite a few times now. And I talked about it right when Jack Ma disappeared and it was at $220 a share. I told you guys I was buying it. Now the stock sits around $240 a share, and this is in my opinion, a really undervalued company. Obviously, investing in a Chinese stock, there's always the issue with the Chinese government. You never know what can happen there. So that is the risk, all of the regulations and what could happen with the Chinese government. But the market cap for Alibaba is right around $644 billion, and they generate revenues that are very, very high in terms of, you could compare them to companies like Amazon. The company reported 221 billion in revenue in Q3 of 2021. That was in US dollars, but still, they are doing some pretty major numbers. And really, you should be comparing them to a company like Amazon. Amazon has a market cap of $2 trillion. And when looking at Alibaba moving down the road, in my opinion, there's really no downside at the current stock price from their Alibaba cloud business, which is a business they are investing nearly $30 billion into over the next 3 years because of the massive potential it has, to their e-commerce business, which has been growing exponentially. This company has a lot of potential. In my opinion, I don't think there's any downside. Looking in the last year, the stock at one point was over $300. It was at about $330 a share. Now it's down to $238. Every single analyst who's looking at this stock right now is projecting a minimum of $290 per share at the end of the year. And that implies, right now it's only at $230 a share. So that implies about a 20-25% upside from where it is right now. That's the lowest analyst rating. The average analyst price target is $325, so that implies about a 45% gain. And there is a lot to like about Alibaba. Between all their strong fundamentals, they have a lot of growth coming. And also, one of the big pieces of controversy was with one of their companies called Ant Investments. It was supposed to IPO earlier I believe, this year, or if not this year, in 2020. There's a lot of drama with regulators in China, but now they've been given the go-ahead to go ahead and IPO, so they're going to still IPO, and that's going to bring a lot of attention back, a lot of good news for Alibaba, so that will be something that also drives the stock price up. I don't think you could go wrong with the company. It is a strong, strong business with a lot of potential, and they're integrated in so many things in China. The one risk is with the Chinese government, which is really the risk of investing in any Chinese company. But when you're looking at e-commerce, JD.com, PDD, all of these stocks nearly doubled or tripled over the last year. Alibaba has not had the same luck simply because of some of these things going on in China. But once IPOs, once they get some good traction, I think we'll easily see this continue to get over that $320 per share range, back to where it was before. Speaking of investments, though, Taco Bell is finally hopping on that NFT train. They're like, NFTs, people are making money. Let's get in on this NFT train. Why not? And Taco Bell announced on Twitter the other day that it was releasing NFTs. They had 25 tokens that apparently sold out in 30 minutes. And the NFTs, it seems like everyone is doing this. We see Jack Dorsey, CEO of Twitter, selling his first tweet as an NFT. LeBron selling a video clip of him dunking as an NFT. We're seeing Grimes, which is another artist, selling millions of dollars. Logan Paul. A lot of people are selling NFTs. Taco Bell did the same thing. And Taco Bell said all the proceeds from this are going to the Liv Moss Scholarship through the Taco Bell Foundation. They also said that the benefit of owning the NFT isn't just its digital art, but that the perk from it is that people get $500 gift card to Taco Bell from it. I couldn't find the pricing on these NFTs. I do know they have sold out, but Taco Bell says that they are planning on doing another run of tokens sometime in the future, but you shouldn't get your hopes up of getting a gift card because that might have only been a one-time thing. They might not be doing that again. And the gift card only goes to that person who originally purchases the NFT. If you buy it aftermarket from someone else, you don't get that gift card. But exciting to see how we're seeing more and more brands, people, everyone is hopping on that NFT train. They're seeing how much money is being made. They want to get in on it as well. And essentially, it's just a GIF of a taco from Taco Bell, but we're seeing crazier things happen with these NFTs. So at least it is tied with something real worth. $500 gift card, that is a pretty big incentive. Last couple of stories is with Samsung. Samsung will be hosting another Unpacked event on March 17th. They just hosted one earlier this year in January, and the invitation calls the event Galaxy Awesome Unpacked, and between a couple of leaks of what they're going to be talking about, it seems safe to assume that at this event, we'll either see the Galaxy A52 and A72 devices debut, and some other mid-range products. The entire event is dedicated to unveiling just the mid-range devices, which is a little unusual. They usually like to have the big flagship product to hype up the event. Not happening this time. But the A52 5G looks like it's going to be receiving monthly security updates, something Samsung tended to reserve only for the high-end phones. And we also can expect to see a high refresh rate screens. So those are what you can expect from this event. We'll see what else they will announce. Maybe they'll come out and surprise people with something else that is big. But this is on March 17th, 2021. Galaxy Awesome Unpacked. It'll be on YouTube on their under the Samsung's YouTube page. Always exciting to see what these companies release at these online events. I wouldn't be surprised if we see something that people aren't expecting. That would be pretty exciting. Another piece of tech that just came out was Sonos Roam, officially announced for $169. Pre-orders have already started, and this is the most versatile speaker that Sonos has ever made. It's going to start shipping out April 20th, 2021, and they officially announced it's called the Sonos Roam. It's a portable speaker, battery powered, Bluetooth, and it's priced at $169. That is a really, really good price for a speaker like that. A lot of other speakers in the market are much more expensive. If you're even looking at headphones are more expensive than this. So the Sonos, previously they have the Sonos Move, which was the company's first attempt at a portable speaker. But the problem with that is that it's quite large, not as easy to travel with as other speakers out there. So the Sonos Roam is like their first true portable speaker. You can bring it anywhere. It weighs less than a pound. It's 6 inches by 2.4 inches by 2.3 inches. So it's pretty small. It's less than, 6 inches, and it's less than a pound. So it is portable. You can bring it anywhere. Some things that they are bringing to the Sonos Roam, some new features, is something called automatic true play. So it will tune audio output for the best results on whatever the room or the environment you are in. That's pretty cool. In addition, 2 Roams can be set up as a stereo pair over Wi-Fi. This option isn't available over Bluetooth yet, but over Wi-Fi you can set up multiple of them to all play the audio at the same exact time, to be like a surround sound or multiple speakers. It has 10 hours of playback on a single charge. USB-C charging cable comes in the box, and it looks really, really exciting. I know there's a lot of speakers out there, a lot of portable speakers, and there's a lot of competition, but Sonos has a pretty big name, and they had a lot of cool features to this. Another trick that they did integrate is called sound swap. So you just hold the play or pause button on the top for 3 seconds, and the Roam will pass the music it's playing to whatever other Sonos speaker in your system is closest. So if you're at home and you have Sonos set up in your house, it's going to send whatever's playing on that to the closest system. And there's a lot of cool features about it. I know people don't always think of Sonos as, let's say, a Bluetooth speaker. They think of it more of as a home sound system. But they do have this portable speaker now. I think it's pretty cool. I can't say how the audio sounds. I'll probably order one so I can let you guys know how the audio does sound. But this is a very exciting thing, and we'll have to wait and see what, how it does, how the sales are, how it competes to, Bose and Beats and all the other portable speakers out there. Now on to a startup called Verkata. A security startup called Verkata Hack just was hacked and exposes 150,000 security cameras in Tesla factories, in jails, in gyms, and more. So Verkata is a Silicon Valley security startup that provides cloud-based security camera services and suffered a major security breach. Hackers, they gained access to 150,000 of the company's cameras from the cameras are located in Tesla factories and warehouses, Cloudflare offices, Equinox gyms, hospitals, jails, schools, police stations, everything else. According to one of the members of the International Hacker Collective, they said the hack was meant to show how commonplace the company's security cameras are, how easily they can be hacked. And they said not only can they be hacked for the live feed, but also they got access to the full archive of videos, all of the previous, access to everything that's been saved. And that's a really big deal. So Verkata came out, they said that they've disabled all internal administrator accounts to prevent unauthorized access. Their internal security team, external security firm are investigating the scale and scope of the issue, working on upping their security to prevent this from happening again. Hackers said it was pretty easy to do this. They just gained super admin level access to the entire system. They found it using a username and password they've found publicly on the internet. So company needs to step up. When you have security cameras, that's something that should be at the highest level. Like, that should be something that can't be hacked. Imagine gyms. Like, it could be for bathrooms even. Gyms and offices, Tesla factories. You need to make sure those are secure. The whole point of security camera is to be able to make sure you could protect yourself against people maybe being in places they aren't supposed to be. So if those can be hacked easily, that brings it to a whole new level that just completely destroys the whole purpose of getting them in the first place. If you're working on a secret project, yes, they still help, know where people are, but those should be something that have very, very strict protocols in place where people can't hack them so easily. 150,000 cameras, that is absolutely insane. Jails, to have access to cameras in jail, like, that shouldn't be able to happen. So good they're working on this. Be interesting to see what happens, what new security updates they come out with to prevent this from happening again. But I'll be interested. I'll keep you guys updated on what happens there. And last story of the day is with Elon Musk, SpaceX, and the Starship SN10. The other day I spoke about a story where the SN10, it landed safely. It was the first time ever that the ship, that this rocket landed. It flew to 33,000 feet, high altitude, and it came back to the Earth's surface, landed safely. And about 8 minutes after it landed, it exploded. So it wasn't all perfect, but Elon Musk, he came out and he explained what actually happened. People thought it was a perfect landing, that it was fine, but Elon Musk said that what happened was the SN10 engine was low on thrust due probably to partial helium ingestion from fuel header tank. He said it wasn't as soft of a landing as people thought. It was actually a bit more crunchy, he said. And the impact, the rocket landed at about 10 meters per second, so about 22 miles per hour, and it crushed legs and part of the skirt. Part of the rocket was crushed because of this. So it wasn't as soft of a landing. Yes, going from thousands of miles an hour to only 22 miles an hour is great, but it wasn't as soft as people thought. It was a bit crunchy. It didn't land perfectly. And because of that, it did crush parts of the rocket. That's why it really exploded later on. And he said in a tweet that they are working on already fixing that for the SN11. Crazy, but the SN11 is already being set up to go for another round. It's already made its appearance on the pad at SpaceX Starship Development Center in Boca Chica, Texas. And it's going to soon begin testing and going to be flying very soon. They're working on rocket after rocket after rocket. So SN10 recently exploded just a couple weeks ago. They're already getting the SN11 out there ready to go. But he said they're going to make some modifications for this test round. Shouldn't happen again. That's why they're doing them, so they can consistently test time and time after again to make sure they are going to be safe. Just like when cars were first made. A lot of accidents. And you get better over time. So all this is done remotely. No one's getting hurt. But they said it wasn't as soft of a landing as people thought. Bit of a crunchy landing. But interesting to see how it came out, explained what exactly happened, because a lot of people were confused as to what happened. That's all I got for you guys today. A pretty exciting episode. If you guys made it this far in the video, comment down below an apple emoji. Just a red apple emoji or a green apple, whatever one you want. Let me know you made it this far in the video, but I hope you guys enjoyed today's episode. If you did, don't forget to get your 4 free stocks valued up to $1,600 when you download the Webull investing app using the link down below. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next episode.